Oh no, we've just lost our third Premier League game of the season, and this time it was against Chelsea. That means Arsenal will be hoping to close the gap. Well, sorry to break the news for our rivals, the Premier League title is already ours and nothing will stop us from celebrating it. Now, all jokes aside, losing a game is always frustrating, especially when it's against a big club like Chelsea. At the end of the day, we're the biggest club in England, and there's nothing wrong with having some pride. So even if the title's already wrapped up, we still need to approach every match like it matters, because it does. You might have thought we'd stop making these videos now that the league is in the bag. But nope, that's not happening. We haven't missed a single game all season, and we're planning to stick it out for the final 3 matches as well. So if you want the full breakdown of our 3-1 loss to Chelsea, from a recurring issue we've seen throughout the season, to a possible glimpse of what Arne Slot might be cooking for the future, go ahead and hit those like and subscribe buttons. Let's get into it. As always, let's start by taking a quick look at our starting lineup. Unsurprisingly, it was different from Slot's usual setup, and honestly that makes sense. Alisson kept his place in goal, with Kostas Tsimikas, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Virgil van Dijk, and Jarell Quansah, who returned to the team after a spell out, all forming the back line. The midfield looked completely different this time, with Wataru Endo, Curtis Jones, and Harvey Elliott starting together for the first time this season. Up front, it was the familiar trio of Gakpo, Jota, and Salah. It didn't take long for Chelsea to open the scoring. Enzo Fernandez found the back of the net after a low cross from Neto. But the real issue wasn't just that we conceded early. It was the fact that the build-up to that goal looked all too familiar. It was something Chelsea and Maresca tried to pull off the last time we faced them at Anfield. Here, you can see our defensive shape. While it didn't look exactly like the usual 4-2-4 since Elliott and Gakpo were dropping more into central areas, it still followed the same principles. You can spot our pivot players, Endo and Jones, closely marking Chelsea's number 10s. This setup is exactly what Maresca tried to exploit at Anfield, and in this game he finally succeeded. Here you can see Palmer attacking Jones's blindside, which gave him just enough space to pull away and forced our number 17 to accelerate to try and close the gap. On the other side, Endo got drawn toward the ball, while Enzo held his position, which created even more separation between them. That small movement was enough to open up space and give Chelsea the edge in that moment. Palmer's double movement here, along with some great communication between him and Lavia, completely caught Curtis Jones off guard. Palmer dragged him out wide to create a pocket of space, then instantly darted back into that gap to receive the ball. It was smart, sharp, and exactly the kind of move that broke our defensive shape. Endo had to shift toward the ball side to try and provide cover, but that left Fernandez completely unmarked. As a result, it was Fernandez who was free to meet Neto's ball into the box and open the scoring. By the way, this is in no way a dig at Endo. Our Japanese fantastic made it look like he never missed a game and bossed the midfield on his own. Whether it's through his hard work and well-timed tackles or his ability on the ball, Endo showed that he still has a lot to offer. Now, going back to the issue. This problem of opposition players dragging our pivot midfielders out of position and leaving central spaces wide open has been a recurring theme all season. PSG's goal came from a nearly identical pattern. Slot has tried to fix this by using Gakpo as a third midfielder, having him drop deeper to help defend the half space. And while that adjustment did help close down those central areas, it's clearly not a foolproof solution. Also, this isn't about individual effort or athleticism. Jones is one of the most athletic players we have. It's more about structure and how we press from the front. So let us know what you think could help fix this going into next season. We might even build a full video around your ideas and suggestions. Now, as for what we did with the ball, there wasn't much of a change until the second half, but we'll come back to that shortly. First, let us show you a moment that felt familiar and almost got us right back into the game. Here you can see both Tsimikas and Gakpo holding the width on the same vertical line, but just a few seconds before this shot on your screen, Gakpo took a couple of steps back to position himself there. That movement was Tsimikas' cue to shift into the half space and push a bit higher. What this did was pin Chelsea's wide midfielder and right back, giving Gakpo the space he needed to receive the ball and cut inside to create something. This exact sequence led to Jota receiving the ball completely free inside the box. Unfortunately, he was in an awkward position and couldn't quite control it, ending up with a missed touch. In the second half, we saw a similar pattern. Tamika's attacked the left half space again, which pinned Caicedo and gave Gakpo loads of room to receive the ball out wide. If it wasn't for a brilliant clearance by one of Chelsea's defenders, we probably would have pulled a goal back much earlier. This is a pattern we've seen plenty of times throughout the season. It's exactly why our fullbacks stay narrow during the build-up. Their starting positions let them attack space in a straight vertical line without needing to change direction. But now, let's talk about something different. Something new that Slot introduced in the second half. It could be a tactical tweak to deal with Chelsea's pressing, or maybe even a glimpse of how we might play next season. Let us walk you through it. Although it's not perfectly structured in this frame, you can still spot the usual 4-2 build-up shape we've used throughout the season. But in this same sequence, Slot switched things up to deal with Chelsea's aggressive man-to-man pressing. You can even see Colwill following Szoboszlai all the way into our own half. This kind of pressing has caused us problems lately, often forcing us to go long more than we'd like. That's made it harder for us to control games the way we want to. But in this moment, even though we did end up playing a long ball, something unusual happened, and it's worth taking a closer look. Chelsea's press kicked in right after Alisson played the ball to Kwanzaa. But here's where things looked a bit different. Unlike what Gravenberch usually does, Jones didn't stay behind the opposition's pressing line. Instead, he dropped deeper to act almost like a third centre-back, helping overload the press. Then he pulled even wider, basically operating as a left-sided defender. That movement dragged his marker with him and opened up a pocket of space for Szoboszlai to step into. He timed it well, received the ball, and played a quick bounce pass to keep the move flowing. This is a great example of how to manipulate an aggressive man-to-man press. The off-ball movement and positional rotations created confusion for Chelsea's players, which led to unmarked runners and open space. But the real question is, could this be a glimpse of how Arne Slot wants us to play in the future? As we've said, teams that press high and man-to-man have caused us real problems this season. From Lille in the Champions League group stage to PSG, we've struggled at times to play through that kind of pressure. That's why more fluidity and rotation in the build-up phase is going to be important if we want to adapt and evolve. Of course, Jones isn't a number 6, so he's not going to be the one regularly performing this role. Gravenberch, on the other hand, is much more effective higher up the pitch, receiving between the lines and turning into space. And we still have questions about his off-ball movement. That's why bringing in a new number 6 could be crucial next season. It might be the missing piece if Slot wants to take this team to the next level. So, yeah, another game, another lesson. Even though we lost 3-1 to Chelsea, there were still some interesting signs, especially in that second half. It's clear that Arne Slot is already starting to test a few new ideas. And while it's far from perfect, it's exciting to see the team trying different things. We've had issues dealing with man-to-man pressing all season, and this might be the beginning of figuring out how to fix that. Now the big question is, will we see more of this in the next 3 games? Is this just a one-off tweak, or part of a bigger plan for next season? Let us know what you think down in the comments. Do you think we need a new number 6 this summer? And if so, who would you go for? As always, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the rest of our match coverage this season. See you in the next one.